Hey y'all. Everyone who reads it must converse is the freaking channel. Noah, nice to see you. It's been actually a while since I did this. Hey there, Nick. How you doing? I just figured I'd play a little on the guitar while we was waiting on some people to join. Who knows how many people might even come by, be part of it, but we'll have this live up on my channel here so people can catch it later because we know it's in the middle of a Saturday, right? Nice to see everyone. So we'll just start off talking about the man himself. I was lucky enough when Manifold Destiny of Eddie Vegas hit, when Rick started his press, it was this book right here. Hey, brother. I was lucky enough, just kind of being the book hunter that I am, that when I was getting the first order from Samizdat back in the day, at a used bookstore, I was able to find 2 first edition hardcovers of Rick Harsch's work. This is 2 of the 3-part Driftless trilogy. Little redundant there. The Driftless Zone and Billy Verite. The last one is The Sleep of Aborigines. And I do not, have that one in these editions, but I'm happy to have them. And this is what I grabbed to see a young Rick Harsch there. All right? What a picture. So that's his first author photo when he got out of the Iowa Writers Workshop and started his career, and the rest is history. So that's not Samizdat Press, those 2 books, but that's the man, Rick Harsch. So Rick Harsch started the Samizdat Press, and man, Rick's no publisher, and marketing and business and all this kind of thing was not his bag, but he turned Samizdat into just a creative wonderland where anybody who was a creative, was able to take part in it because he was on Instagram, on YouTube, and just talking to people. And he is such a creative individual and such a sharp mind when he's on it like that, when you're just messing around in conversation. And it's inspiring, and it inspires people, inspires a bunch of authors. They jump. He could get these authors like one of our YouTube boys. All right, Mark Nash. Everybody follow Mark Nash on YouTube. He's an amazing author. And this is Samizdat's edition of Death of the Author in Triplicate by Mark Nash. Have not read this one yet. There's a great number of Samizdat books here that I have not read because he was such a prolific publisher for these 4 or 5 years that he's been in action. And I say he, I mean really he, Samizdat books is really a, thank you, Vigio. Samizdat books really is and is a one-man operation. So we really want to look out for Rick. The link to the GoFundMe is in the title here. Also in my stories, you can just go up there and click a link from there. If you got anything to help out the situation. For those that don't know, the situation is that Rick had a stroke, and it was sudden and unexpected, of course, and the family is really pulling together and having to be without Rick. And not just that, there's Rika. Hey, Rika. Not just that, the press is not shipping books, is not able to take orders, things like this. And if it's like that, then there's an income stream that is not not an income stream anymore, right? Rika, come here, girl. Rika. She is so cute. Little Rika is awesome. Yeah, Mark Nash is awesome. I mean, he's just a great writer, but his videos are really, really smart. He's a really smart guy. But I am reading The Cult of the Cactus Boots again right now. That was an awesome experience. We'll get to talking about it this weekend, I think, is when we're opening up the first kind of spoilery full discussion for the first part of reading. So I'm really looking forward to that, guys. And also, I've been reading Skulls of Istria, right? This is Rick Harsch, Tavern Confessional. One American expatriate arrives in Balkan Peninsula, and he's like has history there. He's been there a number of years now. It's not clear his age, these kind of things, but he's just talking to this guy that can't speak English. He's just talking and telling his story. But this is a great book. It really shows how great Rick is at conversation, at dialogue, and at delivery. There was a part, I just kept it in mind. I think it was page 28. I mourn more than the loss. I mourn more for the loss of the art. You never had to be a Turk to greet a stranger, to look frankly on a man who could never be much different from yourself and say to him without shame, "You interest me, fellow man." It used to be done in taverns just like this one, with Bergia for excuse and rancid most of brandies for lubricant. And there was also a name for this meeting. Not the modern foile, rather camaraderie. Camaraderie, the most trustworthy, more trustworthy than mating, more reciprocal than worship. A fool's voice is known by his many words. Woe to him who is alone when he falls. I am alone. I'm falling. I'm not alone. I have you and the money to keep you here. So he's really, just really on it with this. And there's just so many cool ways that he's looking at the world and trying to make sense of people and wrestling with his own inner demons. Somebody who, being an expatriate this character has a lot of, animosity towards towards people, just humanity as a whole. If somebody's not, an artist and really in this trying to break free of what might be our conditionings, then he not only doesn't have respect for that person, but he actually hates that person. And so it's struggling with that, because you can't, you can't live a happy life with hate in your heart like this. So there's always that struggle then with this kind of posture. So a cool exploration. It's small. I'm going to get through that at my leisure. But the greatest, and this is available, The Manifold Destiny of Eddie Vegas. For those of you who don't know, hey Steve, thanks man. Yeah, been a while since I did this, but I did it a lot. The Manifold Destiny of Eddie Vegas. This here is the Corona Samizdat edition, because I got it back when Rick was printing it, of course. But it has now been picked up by Deep Vellum. And they are printing it. You can go to their website and buy it. And it's freaking amazing. Actually, the first chapter, maybe not. Let's see. Maybe it's chapter 4, 5, and 6, right? After you meet your characters, this is kind of it spans a good amount of time generationally in the United States. So you meet some characters now, in our time now. 20th century something, right? And then you meet characters back, I guess, the grandfather, right? Great grandfather, back in, exploring the Oregon wilderness when there was nothing there. One of the first, or some of the first people to make it out west and be dealing with Indian population out there, and all that kind of thing. And we get a rendition of the story of the Revenant. This is an amazing story. And the way that Rick tells it is he's on fire. I mean, the language is completely on fire. Hey, baby, Emily in the house. She's in the house, actually, but she's also here. So everybody's here to support Rick, for sure. You want to get on a little bit, Nick? You want to jump on with me? Whenever it's cool. I'm going to open it up. I'm going to open it up to anybody. One of the things that Rick did really well, I got more Rick Harsch books to show, but, let's just talk about the press too, because one of the things that Rick did an amazing job with this press was bringing authors out and showcasing their work. One of those first authors was David Vardaman. Okay? David Vardaman, we got a few here, right? David Vardaman is one of the funniest, most unexpected short story writers. That's how to characterize his work, is just funny and unexpected. And with a hint of this darkness, like some kind of gothic, maybe gothic, Midwestern gothic, something like. It's awesome. This is April is the Cruelest Month, and suddenly this summer. And April is the Cruelest Month is an incredible bar story, right? Just an incredible bar story. I just remember parts randomly. And I read it years and years ago, right? I still just remember certain phrases when something happened and start just laughing and just being like, oh my God, how? How does this guy come up with this stuff? It's just hilarious. If anybody's read it, I'm referring to the part where he's on the phone with the bartender. You're like, he's called somebody in the bar, and from the bar, from inside, like a payphone in the bar. And it's just hilarity ensues. And crazy. Letters of Thanks from Hell. This is one of the newest ones published by Corona Samizdat from David Vardaman. I didn't get to this yet. This is a play. We'll see. Looking forward to it. An Angel of Sodom. This is a short story collection. And the titular story is the longest in the collection. It was my first David Vardaman experience, maybe the first thing that Rick published by him. And I mean, it's just amazing story after amazing story. Some very short, some, having a good size to them, 20 to 30 pages. I mean, just everything. The Tramp on the Street, Farm Girl, The Last Evil is the last story is such a great cap to the story collection. Everything about this has been really well thought out. Everything about these stories. It's like reading Flannery O'Connor, really, because of a perfectionism in not just writing the stories and how the stories are written, but in their placement and how everything fits together, the vibe as it goes through, and the end, the last story is just a great cap to this collection. So this is a wonderful collection from David Vardaman. There's reviews on my channel, Everyone Who Reads It Must Converse, for all the books out of here that I've read, stopping 2 years ago. So older stuff, but that's when Corona Samizdat started, right? And so, yeah, the newest, one of the newest short story collection put out by Corona Samizdat Press of David Vardaman stories is Suggestion Diabolique. I guess he's like, Midwestern French Gothic. But read a couple of stories out of here, not the whole collection yet, on the prompting of Rick, saying that how awesome and a perfect short story that the one called Easter is, right in the middle there. And it is a very, very well done story that to say it hits hard, it hits hard, and it's layered, and it's still pointed and still directed at one thing, and that's Flannery O'Connor to me. And that's why I say David Vardaman really reminds me of her stories. It's not so much in content all the time. Not at all, really. Just different time frames, different eras. But definitely an amazing book. I will get to more of those short stories as well. So, got turned on to David Vardaman by Rick Harsch. And that didn't stop. We have a lot of randoms, just people that we'd never know if it wasn't for Rick. Somebody like Bori Proper, Cynicism Management. This was a very early printing from Corona Samizdat as well. Rick didn't like the color as it came out on this. It looks fine as long as the light is really hitting it and really shining on it. We got some really good natural light coming in through this window here. So it looks fine, but it's a little bit darker than Rick would have liked. This is a great book, and this is a beast of a book, for Rick to put this out right off the bat. He really believes in people when he has a great sense of when an artist is ready and knowing that their stuff is good. His just literary metric is so awesome. And we have, I'm not going to try to pronounce the name of this author because I don't want to butcher it. The Lift. And Rick published this simply because he liked it a lot. And I'll give you guys a little story. This is the kind of stuff I want to do, Nick. Let's share some stories of Corona Samizdat and stories of Rick too, right? Because we love you, Rick. And so Rick told me that back in the day, he was reading and reviewing and on the same kind of publisher as Danielewski, right? Pantheon, and read House of Leaves before it was published and just didn't think much of it and was just like, and so saw just, cosmetic tricks on the page, not literary tricks, and was actually not, even that interesting to him literally, right? It's just not really, didn't grab him like that. Well, we read in different postures, right? I read that myself when I was in high school. No, just right out of high school, right at the end, is when it dropped, 2000. And that book was amazing and it scared the shit out of me. It was just totally. So, it was just this kind of thing where me and Rick had that kind of difference. And of course, Danielewski's a rock star. But I read this little book. This is a passion project for Rick. He wants people, he would throw these in for free when you ordered a package. If he can slip another book in there, this is the smallest book. So he'd just slip a book in there, an extra book, and then give these out. And I read this just, a year ago or something. And it reminded me of Danielewski's second book, which is Only Revolutions. We'll see if anybody's read. Because I love that book. That book is really, really fun. Hey, Nick. How you doing?
Good, bro. How are you?
Cool. You look great. Hey, man, you ever read Only Revolutions by Mark Danielewski?
I have not. I do own a copy of it though. It's
Nice. I love that book. I love that book. So when I read this little one by Rick here,
Hmm.
this is an experimental fiction playing with, time and the characters in the book being very meta in that way where, they're just character, they're not even people, they are just what's on that page. And it's just like real stuff, real, written, aware of that, using that as thought experiment. And so I read this. This was like a little passion project for Rick, to put out and would love to, throw them for free in packages when he could fit a little book in there
That's right.
and just be giving them away. So I read it and just thought, man, this is so much like what Daniel Leskey did with Only Revolutions. Only Revolutions is just way bigger, and more of it. That's a killer book, man. You should get to it whenever.
Definitely,
Happy
definitely.
Saturday.
Thanks, bro. Just glad to be here. Glad to be supporting Rick. Glad to
That's
be
right.
starting out Corona Samizdat. I was gonna say, it's interesting because Rick actually knows the brother of the author that passed away that wrote that radio play. It's actually a radio play that The Lift. I think it
Nice.
was a quite important radio play back in the day, but I think
Nice.
time hasn't been too kind to it. So
Sure.
Rick actually did something for the family again because of his big heart, and he actually
Yeah.
wanted to shed some light, shed a
Cool.
little spotlight on the author that passed.
Yeah,
So
cool.
yeah,
That
yeah,
is cool.
bro.
I knew it's like a little, that he just felt strongly about it, about that little book for some reason, and just kept,
Yeah.
just kind of would just throw it out there, and just for the exposure. And I was like, wow, this is killer, and just indicative, and shows what Rick was really all about in a way.
Well, how about we bring up the point of the first release of Corona Samizdat when Rick got some money together, and I believe it was to do with it was a deal that fell through originally with Zero Gram Press and Jim Gower for a book that's biographical, Arjun. That book, it
Arjun
fell
and the Good
through.
Snake.
That was the one that originally they bought, but they let him keep the money, which was very kind of them to do. And Rick actually used that money to start the press. And the first
Nice,
author that he published was David Varman. He came back
nice.
for his best friend who has never been published before, has been writing in secret for all these years, and he came back for him and he published him. I mean, that speaks volumes
That's right.
to who Rick Harsch is as a person, right?
That's right. That's right. He wanted to validate his friend
Yeah,
and say, look, you have to be read. You're an amazing author. You have to be read. I'm going to publish you
that's right.
and put it out. David Vartman. And this is the first two that he published here with these,
Mhm.
with the paintings. Yeah. What is it?
It's
I
it's a
thought it was,
it's a Ukrainian painter, I believe, that David Varman keeps going back to. I believe he likes her paintings quite a bit. I believe she's Ukrainian.
it's very cool. They're very moody.
Yeah.
And this is David Vardaman's style, very good for for the, for the vibe of the stories that are in here,
A bit dark, a bit psychological, of course.
Right. So, Nick, you're the man. You're the one that started this GoFundMe for the press, and I'm just here to support that as well. So thank you. Thank you for giving an opportunity to energize people to do something because we do believe, and at the heart, people are inherently good,
Of
and
course.
we're looking out for each other, and that's all we can do at this point. At some point, I mean, you've been very close with Rick and the press and still are. I can't imagine, but Nick's book, Conversational Therapy, I didn't pull it out because it's not Corona Samizdat's edition. I was just focused on Corona Samizdat books. But your book is very, very cool and a great read. I don't know if that ever got published by Rick. Was it? It was just talked about
No, we did
back in the
publish it
day.
for a sort of like a called a limited period of time, and
Yeah.
actually he discovered two boxes, or maybe it was a box and a half. I'm not quite clear now, but I believe he found definitely one full box and maybe half of a box, and kicking around his apartment because he also found some other book in another box. So that's what happens when you stock. I
Yeah.
believe those were from the original printer that he used to deal with, not the new one that he deals with currently.
Right.
So he was
Right.
very
Right.
kind enough to put the book back into stock. So I've actually sold at least 6 or 7 copies before,
Yeah.
unfortunately, Rick had his medical incident, and
Yeah.
it was actually going quite strongly. I mean, even in my own venues, I still sell quite a few copies to this day. Like I've nearly sold, for how tiny I am and what I'm trying to
Right.
do. 300 copies is not that bad. I'm
Yeah.
nearing 300 copies. It's
That's
something,
great. That's great.
And Rick and I have we actually Rick is actually putting out my novella. He was
Right.
about to put it out in either November or December or January. It was just a bit. It was
Yeah.
depending
Just when,
on
when it
yeah.
comes down to it and get to the press and get it.
Unfortunately, the tariffs have completely shut down a lot of opportunities, and that's when Rick,
Right.
right before July, he made a video on YouTube on his channel talking about. Rick is not the type of a guy to ever ask for donations. He's
Right.
not that kind of guy. He doesn't
No.
do GoFundMe. He doesn't do Kickstarter. He doesn't do any of those things.
No.
But
He
he
barely
did put
does
out
Instagram.
yeah, but he did put out a video, and that's when I knew that something had to be done. So back in on July 1st, I started a GoFundMe, and that's the GoFundMe that's linked now. And as you can see, it's dedicated towards the press and saving the
Yeah.
press, giving the press money to overcome these tariffs for the time being, because he can't send books out to North
Right.
America, right?
Right.
But unfortunately, as time went on, Rick has had this medical condition. He
Yeah.
thankfully pulled out of the coma, and he's now in rehabilitation. He's recovering, which I'm really thankful for. But that's when
Yes.
I knew that I need to repurpose the GoFundMe, which at that time, to be quite frank with you, did not really uh, get much donations. It was very
Yes.
small, under
Yeah.
$50, I believe. But now, in about 13 days, I have almost gathered $2,000, and that's
Yes.
incredible. That shows me that the community is coming together for Rick, because we do owe something to Rick, because he has been here for us, and he has never asked for anything really back.
Right.
But
Right.
now is the time to give back, regardless of whether he has or he hasn't.
Right. Yes. Yes. And he's a giver, man. He's a
He
giver.
is. He
He's
is.
been given so much to literature and, not just new creatives like you to publish people and to
Yeah.
publish people that wouldn't be published. Not just that, but he had an incredible opportunity with Corona Samizdat and brought back Chandler Brossard,
Of course, brother. That
The Wolf
that
Leaps.
that and the flamethrowers, I know, are his two
Oh,
biggest. Yes, yes,
this is incredible stuff.
absolutely.
Chandler
With some
Brossard
great
is an
covers.
incredible writer. Yeah.
Yes,
I mean, and where can you get it, guys? Not even anywhere in the world can you
yes.
really get new editions of Chandler Brossard's Wake Up, We're Almost There.
Well, no.
Corona
He was
Samizdat.
also he was also kind enough to publish his daughter, right?
Yeah,
Iris. Yeah, that's incredible.
right, right,
That's
right. I
incredible.
might have it
like
somewhere. Too
like
many.
these connections, these
Yeah,
human connections that Rick makes. He's a very opinionated man. He has strong opinions.
yeah,
Um, sort of goes back to the Nabokov Strong Opinions book. He has strong opinions,
yeah.
but he's absolutely lovable. He's one of a kind, and he's absolutely 100% the most eccentric man you will ever meet. Maybe next
Right.
to David Lynch,
Yeah,
you
he
know.
might be a genius. He's
So,
completely genius to me.
you
And
know,
this was a passion project for him.
that's right.
This was it. I
Flamethrowers.
mean, this is like an incredible book. And he published it just because he loved it. It was out of print. He's with the translators on this, just an amazing project. And he did it. He did it. Thank you, Rick. We love you, Rick. Thank you
What?
for always bringing
But
us the
also,
greatest literature.
also a big shout out to the translator of that book, who's been best friends with Rick for a very long time.
Right.
He's a very
Larry
kind,
Riley.
yes, he's a very kind man, and that was also his lifelong project to translate
Yeah.
that book.
Yeah.
So
I mean, and I've actually talked with Larry a couple times.
I have as well.
It's just great. Rick plugs people in with each other. There's no ego really in that. You see,
No.
like when you're on it with Rick, Rick is of strong opinions. Rick is a very headstrong guy like this, and likes to rub people the wrong way. Likes to be the way he is. But when it comes down to it, and you're friends with him, and you're on
Yes.
that level with him, there's no ego there.
No.
He will plug you in. He will invite any kind of exploration and conversations. So again, just now that we're even a little further, guys, the GoFundMe links we're going to keep them in our stories.
Yes.
At least Nick and I. Anybody else, feel free to share it. The more times that it's like on somebody's story, the more different people see it, and it's just a matter of putting a little bit of extra money that people have, just putting it to something that they know is a good thing. This is a
Absolutely.
good thing. This is looking out for a family of people who Rick takes care of. You know,
Absolutely.
he has his kids and stuff, and we don't even know about any personal situation. We're talking about the press and this literature and all this stuff that we hope gets back in the swing like that. But really, we want to make sure that everybody is okay and everybody is being taken care of in Rick's family too,
Of
his
course.
family too, not just business, but personal as well. So I
Well,
just wanted to say that.
we have to remember too, he's unable to do any freelance editing jobs. He's unable to do any teaching.
Right. Right.
He's not making money from the press simply because majority of the sales, I believe, do come from the United States, for example. Some
Right.
do come from trickle in from Canada, but at the same time, the tariffs and obviously his current medical condition have prevented him from making any money. So this is money that's going to go towards his family and his medical bills, and
Right.
whatever is left is going to go towards a press that's giving pretty much any and every indie author in our community a chance to be published,
Yeah.
because we still know about the gatekeeping. We still know
Right.
that it's almost impossible to get an agent in this day
Right.
and age.
Right. Unless
So
you're
Rick
coming out of the Iowa Writers Workshop, right?
exactly, exactly, and and
How
I
about
really,
how about the Canada boys?
Lady Thomas,
I mean,
of course.
Jeff Bursey was one of the first that Rick published as well.
That's
Jeff
right.
Bursey.
That's right.
One of the first ones was an unidentified man that left a
Left
photo.
a photo. Yeah.
Very, very cool work. Jeff Bursey is an experimental writer that I enjoy.
Oh, Jeff he's a very intelligent, kind, great human being.
I need to read more of them. You know,
Yeah.
I do have some more. I have the Impalpable Certain Rest here.
That
I have not cracked.
that's the one I've read, and it was amazing. Great short
Nice,
stories. Great stuff. Great stuff.
nice. This is the one that is next for Jeff Bursey, but I've actually talked with him a little bit too. The
Yeah.
just because being so close with Rick, you get kind of in with the crowd
Mm-hmm.
like that, and so
Really.
especially somebody that's kind of doing it bigger since being published by Rick is Leedy Thompson. Another Canadian boy.
Well, no, my relate my long we've been friends since 20. Look, we've been friends for almost 5 years now, Lee and I.
Yeah, yeah,
Lee edited my first book. Lee, he's been very much a mentor to me, as well as
oh,
Rick, but Lee was the original mentor to me,
yeah,
uh, that I found a little bit late in life, but I was so thankful and grateful to have had that experience, regardless, late or
yeah,
not. And he's an amazing editor, but he's an incredible author, and
yeah,
his own press that he's running right now is also absolutely amazing.
yeah. Well, It just keeps popping up these books that
Yes.
I'm like salivating over from that
Yeah.
press. He's doing a great job curating his catalog over there. That's why
Yeah.
I'm saying, he's doing great right now, doing bigger things in a way than when I met him, when we met him.
No,
And
absolutely.
all
Because
and here, this Corona Samizdat label is what it's all about, just getting the exposure and getting people talking about it. Because when I read this book, A Pastoral, it blew my freaking mind.
oh,
All
I
right.
love
It
this
was
book.
just
It's a great book. It's a
it's
great book.
it's so freaking funny, and you're just like, what? No, like what? This can't happen like this. It's like revolting, and you're just like laughing. This is it's a fantasy. You're in a fantasy, so you can go with it. Reminded me of a Terry Gilliam movie back when I read it.
Well, no. I mean, look at the direction we went with now. Maybe that's the next reality. Maybe it's not that far off,
Right,
right?
right. It's kind of like a sick, where reverse Animal Farm, where
Oh,
if you're
absolutely. Yeah.
where you're getting put, physically in the farm, you're getting devolved.
It's definitely Brazil. It's definitely dystopia. It's definitely Animal Farm. It's 1941. It's a combination of things. It's
Right.
also very. I know Lee has a great respect for Kafka, as do I. So there's
Yeah.
definitely Kafka-esque elements in there as well.
Yeah. Just the personality and how this main character
Mm.
is dealing. You just it was wild to really see a human mind try to actually, because the only way you can experience the book is to kind of like say, okay, this is fantasy world, and you're not really,
Mhm.
but to have it exploring a human
Yes.
mind trying to make sense of this freaking shit show.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And then the
Absolutely.
horror, like, there's a horror element to it, of course, because, Animal Kingdom now. But all right, some more. W.D. Clark.
Oh my gosh, Bill Clark is he he might be the most literary out of all of us. He's quite the guy. He's a talented author.
I have not picked it. I have not cracked this one yet. Since I think Bob Clark sent this to me and sent me the White Mythology as well.
That's the one that I've read. That's the one
White,
I've
White Mythology.
yes.
Nice. I mean, and it blows my mind. I got the books together today, and I'm just like, and I don't even have all of Corona Samizdat's catalog. Guys, I don't. There's quite
So many.
a few books that I don't own. And I mean, I haven't even shown you what I got, really, all I have yet. It's crazy what he was able to do with this press in 5 years. And yeah, there's boxes of these books. These books are going to get to us in some way,
Yeah, of course.
you know? There's such
And
a huge group of people that are.
and Noah, how about the micro line that Rick just started recently? How about the micro line?
I don't have
That's
any of, I didn't make an order since the microline stuff. So I don't have any of the microlines. Tim Connolly.
Tim Conley, yes.
That's another Canadian guy I got, right?
Yeah.
I He was turned on to me by another in the booktube community, is Idjit in Chief Quentin. He's a good
Yes,
guy,
Quentin. Well,
and he
well,
was content creator, just
I
just
I
talking
I
books.
I believe that he's a Tim Conley is a teacher at the university that he
Right.
attends, right? So
Yeah. I don't know if there was any kind of how he got plugged in with Rick and how that came to happen, but that's a great example of community coming together to
that's right.
have a great book published as well. And
Yes,
just over and over and over. And so for all the not being a businessman and not marketing, the how Rick was or whatever, he actually was very, very capable of running that
of
press
course.
in his catalog and what he put out consistently.
Absolutely. It's actually
Awesome.
really incredible. I also think maybe it was Jeb Bursey who introduced the two of them, but regardless of the fact, it's a small community that feels larger than it really is, and
Right.
and it just we have to understand how important Rick is within this community, because a lot of us, we all we all run through him,
Right.
and he provides a lot of hope, really.
Right.
It's positivity and hope, because a lot of authors would feel quite hopeless out there without someone like Rick. And
Right.
also the readers benefit by having amazing experimental literature that a lot of like traditionalist publishers would never ever touch, even in 2025. They would
Right.
not ever touch it.
Right. Yeah. 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 Exactly right. And because he was publishing for the art, very
Mhm.
art minded in his publishing posture, not really, is there a market out there for this? I don't
No,
know if that ever, I don't know if
no, he
if
does
that
not care
ever
about
crossed
any of
Rick's
that.
mind. That's hilarious, actually. One of the early guys that Rick urged me, since I was doing my book tube and
Mhm.
a lot of book people hanging out and just a lot of conversation going on. And he was like, hey, this author's really good. And he's, self-published a book. He's only got, a number of copies.
Mhm.
Um, I'm going to publish his book at some point. I don't know when, because it's a big book and it's going to be a big book. So I'm going to publish it at some point, but maybe you want to read it. And so I had reached out and gotten this book and started to read it. And I never really got into it. I will attempt it again. And I'm talking about A Bended Circuity.
Of course, of
So when
course.
this thing freaking hits, it was like, there was um, a lot of hype to it. A lot of people really loving what they were
Mhm.
reading. Have you read this one?
I have. It's
Nice.
yeah, I would say that outside of, I don't want to do too many CS writer comparisons. It's just it's definitely its own unique great book. But
Yes.
not to take away from any other author in the press, but I will say this: in terms of, if we're talking which books sell the most copies, it's definitely Cactus Boots, followed by
Yeah.
Bennett Circuity, and probably followed by Lee D. Thompson, because I know he has sold quite a lot of copies through,
Nice.
so these
So,
books, they definitely move units, but they're also each unique, each individual, and very important, and they all should be read, of course.
right.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
absolutely.
That is actually seen not the Corona Samizdat edition of that one. I
That
did grab that
I
off.
have the edition as well, because we
Nice.
connected, and that's the edition I was sent as well.
Yeah, it's
It's
very
the
cool.
original.
Uh, so I just was like, well, I'll just use this as a reading copy and get one from Corona Samizdat in my next order or something. I feel like I have to be whittling down this catalog a little bit, but he just keeps
He keeps pulling
publishing
them
more
out, though. He
books.
keeps pulling them out.
Yeah. And so the newest, what was in like the newest one order that I had, maybe was Filthy Schenectady.
Oh yes, yes. That's one I still have to read. I've
Yeah,
yet
this
to.
is one of the newer ones that I had ordered that I hadn't got to yet. So before the microline, but not too bad. The Rick was so eccentric. You can see it in the catalog too. This how about this Finnegan? How about Finnegan slept here? The
I have a soft spot for the book. I think it's quite unique. It's
it
definitely
is.
not for everyone, but
Yeah.
if you're a Joyce fan, I think it's quite a good addition.
Yes, definitely. And where else can you find it?
Exactly.
It's amazing. Um, the epistolary novels of Vanessa Radif. I
Yes.
mean, these things are great. Very,
Slightly
very spicy.
not PG-13, but definitely great.
They're not PG-13. This is some real, I mean, so what, and I got the gold edition too, by the way.
I do like the gold edition.
We
That one
had,
I do like.
they had some extra gold left over when they did the cactus boots there.
That's right. They use some of it on Varmin too, actually. Yeah.
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 Man, wouldn't that be cool to have a gold edition of a Vardaman?
Oh, absolutely.
That's cool. And then we got one of the Instagram guys, one of our Instagram community here, and this is a big book. I hadn't even attempted this one yet. It has been sitting like on the top of the TBR though, like just staring at it.
Mhm.
Solarium, Braid
Oh
Matthew,
yeah,
right?
another one I read. Yes, yes, good
Nice,
book. He
cool.
looks very thick.
It
Yes.
does look thick, but you know these little ones, they're quick reads, man. You're just like
Yeah. Oh, I
crush a
love the
page.
pocketbook. I love the idea of it. I love what Rick did with that. It's genius. Yeah,
You
I
want to
love it.
speak into Solarium a little bit? I mean, like what was you know the circumstance or like why maybe this fits or is unique in the catalog.
Well, I think without giving away too much of the plot, because I think it's a bit of a slow burn. Like I don't like if you give away all the points, there's no. It should be read at the pace that the book presents you with. But I think
Right.
it's certainly a psychological novel. It's very exploratory of the human psyche. Um,
Nice.
there's definitely an exploration of not so much an artist, but the reader. The reader becomes
Nice.
its his own character through another character, and we,
Nice.
you know, beyond exploring sort of the labyrinths of the libraries, and beyond exploring what makes the reader and why a reader reads,
Yeah.
and what it provides to the reader through the act itself. I loved the psychological aspect of the novel. I'm
Nice.
definitely into psychology, and even in
Yeah.
my own short stories, and even in the novella that Rick is about to put out, it's very heavily psychological. So to me,
Yeah.
that's the biggest draw whenever an author also hits. Like I'll tell you this, the one author that speaks the most to me on a personal level, where we connect through what I try to do as an author and what they're doing as an author, it would be Lee D. Thompson, because
Nice.
like his books to me, they it's not I cannot say that I can write his works, obviously not, but his style, what he tries to achieve with through these works, it speaks so deeply to me, and I do feel that there's even a tiny bit of overlap. I'm not trying to in any way put myself on the level of his writing or him as an artist, but it's just I do feel there's an overlap of similar themes. Oh yes, that's a younger Lee. Yes, yes.
There's the young Lee looking dapper, ready to
Oh,
go. Got to
I love the hair. I love the hair.
yeah, get his
Uh,
offer photo going on.
So whenever Lee puts, I've read so much of his work, and I've almost, I think minus maybe like one short story that it was still good, don't get me wrong, but everything else has spoke so deeply to me. That's why, I feel like people like Rick, people like Lee, and every author on Corona Samizdat, they all deserve a bigger fan base. And
Yeah.
I'm so thankful that Rick and Lee also, with their presses, are trying to push all these other authors that are not getting the spotlight that they deserve, right?
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, and this whole operation has been run by creatives the whole time.
Yeah.
You know, we got Zach Tanner.
Yeah, Zach,
You know,
exactly.
Oscar Submerges. I traded with a friend for a book so that they could experience Zach Tanner. But the Some Features of Living Matter in the Neighborhood of the Sun. It's
That's
a
right.
great little story.
That's
Great.
right.
And then you know, and we have to continue the Margie and the Atomic
Oh,
Brain. Okay.
you, Rick wants to put all three of them together. That's his
Yeah, and
biggest. Yeah,
have a picture here.
that's right.
So, you know, the collection is not complete. And Zach Tanner not only is an author of the press, but he you know, did
He
these covers.
typesets.
Yeah, he's creative designer for these covers a lot of
Oh yeah.
times, and or at least we'll get the cover from the and do the formatting right from the author, and then do the formatting for them or something like this too. So just instrumental in helping Rick to get things done, what he needs to do, and even also the Cactus Boots guys. You know, Jeff and Phil.
Yeah.
You know, just doing really just in it for the press from the start. Why
Oh,
they wrote this
absolutely.
book was, you know, their exposure to Eddie Vegas and the meeting Rick and doing and getting involved with Corona Samazdat is the impetus for this book
Yeah.
in a very solid, clear way. Like it just is this thing. And their passion brought Corona Samazdat
Yeah.
to publish one
Oh
of
yes.
Rick's old teachers.
Yes.
right? Rick's old teacher, David Miller, The Philosophy of Creativity, and then Jeff puts freaking illustrations to it. It's awesome.
That's right.
It's awesome, guys.
I
And
know Rick was very proud of this. He was very
yeah,
proud of this. Yeah.
and you can learn something of philosophical ideas that are just, you can't get exposure to it.
Hmm.
A philosophy using at the basis creativity itself. You're working with your body, the mind, this inner work, so you can express out what you want. And this guy, it's his life work, you
That's right.
know, and wasn't available, and Rick makes it so. It's
That's right.
awesome, so awesome.
Well, it just the idea of just imagine this. You're in school, you have a mentor happens to be your teacher, and
Yeah,
you really look up to them though.
yeah,
And then you start a press years down the line, and then you kind of circle back the same way he circled back for David Barman, he circled back for him, and he presented him with this opportunity to publish this amazing book and let his voice and ideas be heard and read. I mean,
right.
this is what Rick does. This is
That's
who
what he
he is, and
does.
this is what he does.
That's right. Yep. That's why we have to do what we have to do. I'm so happy that you had this avenue, and that we can,
Oh,
have a
absolutely.
place to focus and give to this guy who's given so much to our community. Um,
Absolutely.
Luke Dellin, one
Oh,
of the Instagram boys.
Luke is an incredible author, an incredible author. Yes.
Luke
I'm
is an
I'm a
incredible
big
author.
fan. I'm a big fan.
I like Luke's stuff. I like it a lot. And what one I have not gotten into, but everybody loved it that's read it that I know of, is Devin Roy. Rick
Okay, I have
published
not. Yeah,
Fatland,
yeah, yeah.
and then Superior at 50 is a collection of short stories.
Hmm. Hmm.
And Fatland, I mean, just everybody that's read it is like, dude, you got to read that one next.
I believe
Every
Quentin
time.
was a
Yeah,
big fan of one of those. Yes.
yeah. So two by
Yeah.
Devin Roy on the catalog. Just amazing, dude. So we're gonna keep we'll keep the link in our
Absolutely.
stories through the week. I'm gonna still, I'll maybe put some content together, just kind of um I wanted to, not just do Instagram posts, just writing, because people might not
Of
read
course.
anything, just kind of go by, but do a little review of Skulls of Istria. Do a little more content on the Cactus Boot, since I'm reading it. So I'm going to
What
be
we
able to focus on the press in adjacent ways
what
throughout the
we need
month.
what we need is like we need there's a lot of great folks around our community now that do these reading groups. We need to do Rick Harsch groups, and we need to really introduce new readers to Rick Harsch, or
Yeah,
re-energize the older readers, and
yeah,
really, really drive home that this is a great author, and he's actually, Rick might not find success in his lifetime, but let me tell you something. He will be appreciated. It will
right,
happen.
right.
It would be amazing
Yes,
if he found it now, but if
yeah,
he doesn't, I 100% guarantee you
right.
he will find it. He will find
Undeniable,
it.
undeniable. Eddie Vegas is such a crushingly awesome book.
Yes.
I mean, it's just like that writing, the fire in those words. I just can't even, it's like, to me, how do you write something like that? How do you do that? I'm not, can't write like, can barely talk like that. You know what I mean?
Well, well, no. First of all, no. You're actually a great author. I've read your short story. I remember the short story, my friend.
Thank you,
It was
brother.
really
Thank
good,
you.
and I
I
hope you're
try.
actually writing more.
I'm happy with that short story. I like the stuff that I have written. I'm very happy with myself, but I just don't really, compare. There's
Yeah.
no, I can't, because I mean, there's so much amazing stuff. I mean, how do you compare yourself to Faulkner? You
No,
can't.
you
How would you
can't.
compare yourself to, David Foster Wallace, or just any writer, really? So somebody like Lee D. Thompson, is like that to me. I wouldn't compare. I can't.
No, you can't.
Somebody like, even, I mean, how would you compare yourself to Phil and Jeff? What they did with Cactus Boots, man.
Hmm.
I have to get their next book.
Oh,
I have to.
well,
I have to read it as soon as possible. Yeah.
well, here's the thing. No, here's the thing. Well, if we do this right, if we do this correctly, and the community really comes for Rick,
Yeah.
to help Rick,
Yes.
the first thing he ensures is that Rick has an income. It takes care of his family and his bills. But secondly, we guarantee the release of the follow-up to Cactus Boots, and we're
Right.
also guaranteeing a printing of a Bandit Circuity.
Okay.
That's two things
Right.
that
Okay.
have to be done. And then we're talking every other author that Rick has slotted that needs to be released, right?
Right. Cool. Cool.
Yeah,
Cool. Hey, that's cool though. I mean, when it comes down to it, it's very clear. It's
yeah,
very clear. It's very doable, guys. It's not,
absolutely. We
it's
can do
not,
this.
we're not swinging for the fences over here. We're just helping out
Exactly.
our buddy.
Exactly.
Right. Man, so too cool. Chandler Brassard, freaking the
Oh,
Canadian boys.
oh yeah.
Vardaman's out there like in the Midwest in the plains of, America, just wind. We got and not even just authors. We'll wrap up in a minute, but I wanted to mention as well that the community of people is not even just authors that are drawn together by Rick, because when I'm just content creator, book lover, reader, making
Mhm.
this kind of stuff, and I was going for community like that, and embracing Corona Samizdat community. But we have an amazing guy, and I'm referring to the clinical psychologist and artist Kieran Forrester.
Oh, of course.
What I mean, just this guy, and he's just part of this community and embraced it so much, and we just all, I mean, so many people embrace him, and we just are. It's just we are helping each other just by our conversations and knowing each other, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I love it. I love it. Too cool. I wanted to
Oh
shout out to
no.
Kieran Forrester because there's someone that's not even an artist that came around because he is a book lover
Mm,
and loving that kind of thing. But actually just loving the amount of creative energy that the community has around Corona Samizdat.
of course.
That's what did it. It's awesome. All
So,
right.
brother,
Go ahead.
what are you thinking? Did you want to announce something for next week? Are you gonna do a YouTube live?
I'm down to do a YouTube live next week.
Mm,
I'm down. How about we see how this goes, guys? Let's
yeah.
do let's do some content throughout the week.
Mm-hmm.
I might get on and do a little video or something. No live during the week, but maybe an Instagram live during the week. Maybe try this again and energize over here during the week. In the evening, just do like a little 20, 30 minutes. Maybe when I
Oh,
finish Skulls of Istria, I'll do like that. And then next weekend, let's cap it off and let's, show some clips, hype this thing a little bit, make it fun. And
so
then
you
next week we'll really, and maybe get something like get Phil and Jeff involved from next weekend or something.
or that's amazing. But how about we get every Corona Summers that author on it? How about we swing for the fences, bro? We get
We
every
could,
single author. We make it happen
me,
for Rick.
Jeff.
A big family moment.
I'm game. I'm game. We're gonna have to pull our resources
That's
together
right.
to see if we can
Get the timing correct.
to see if we can actually make this happen. But even if 2 out of 3, 1 out of 3 can do
Yeah,
it,
I mean, hey, it's
it
just a
would be
Corona
awesome.
Summers that family moment, brother.
That's right. It'll be awesome. It'll be a great hangout. We'll have some amazing stories, funny stuff, I'm sure.
No.
I wanna kind of lean into that, especially next weekend. Let's do that. Let's lean into that a little more. Just kind of we can talk about Rick and funny stories. There's plenty when we were making content that Rick and
Oh,
his love of knives. Let's talk about
how
Rick and his hats.
my favorite Rick stories are also the Danielewski's agent stories. I love those stories.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. How about that? How about when he cut himself
Oh,
when he was opening a box and he signed one of the cactus boots with his blood?
that's right. That's
I
right.
had that book over here for a while
Oh,
at the house back in the day.
okay.
And I forget what it was. It was one of my lives, and we did this whole ceremony, and I gifted it to the Cactus Boots boys, Phil and
Ah,
Jeff,
thing.
so they have a copy of Cactus Boots signed in Rick's blood.
It doesn't get more authentic than that. It doesn't get more authentic than that. And that's Rick for you, right? Who else is
Yeah,
going to do that?
yeah,
I,
yep.
I'm not signing any books with my blood, that's for sure.
Right. It didn't even come straight to me. There's a whole story about how it got to me, but that's for another time. We not need to go into that. Maybe next weekend.
Save it for the
Uh,
live. That's right. Save it for the
yeah,
live.
I'll save that one for next weekend. How I got the bloody signed cactus boots, and then yeah, we'll have some fun. Thank you for joining me, Nick. It's always
No,
awesome to
thank you,
talk with
brother.
you.
And we love you, Rick. All the
We
best, my
love you,
friend.
Rick. Yes. Talk to you soon. Bye, guys.